Well, welcome back to another Celebrity Sweets. I'm Ethan, and with the start of a new year means the start of award season. And kicking off the 2019 award season are the Golden Globes. This is the 76th annual Golden Globes, which will air tonight on NBC. And if you're not familiar with the concept of the show, basically a bunch of filmmakers, actresses, actors have all been nominated for their outstanding roles or film directing in 2018, and then the winners are announced on that show. And you go home with like a statue that has like a golden globe on top of it. So today we are going to be making something inspired by that trophy. It is going to be a golden globe apple pie, and on the top of the pie will look like the top of the trophy. To make the crust, you will need 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup cold butter, 1/4 cup of cold water, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. To make this apple pie filling, you will need 3 Granny Smith apples, 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, a tablespoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. You will also need some sort of pie pan. I found this bronze pie pan at Target, and I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to get this one too. I thought it would best fit our theme. The first thing we're going to do is to make our crust. So in a large bowl, we are going to combine together all of our flour and cold butter. Now when making a pie crust, you want to make sure the butter is cold, and you want to make sure it remains cold throughout the whole incorporation process. So I'm going to be using my hands, and your hands put off a lot of heat, so sometimes it's good to just pop the dough in the fridge and then come back and work on it again. Or you could just invest in a pastry blender. To make this pie crust, combine all of your flour and butter a little bit at a time, mixing it with your hands until incorporated. Now, up for Best Picture, like animated movies, they're like, I don't know how you choose. Because there's like Incredibles 2, which was incredible. Wreck-It Ralph 2, which is amazing as well. And we made Wreck-It Ralph inspired treats. So check those out too. Anyways, we've incorporated the butter into our pie crust, and it should be a coarse grain. There should still be chunks of butter in there because that is going to give our pie crust a flakiness. But now we want to add in our salt and a little bit of our water at a time until our pie crust comes together and is not sticky. So our pie crust has come together, and now we are going to divide it in half, and we're going to start by making the bottom crust. So take the dough, put it onto a floured surface, and roll it out about 1/4 inch thick. After you've rolled out your pie crust, now we want to carefully take it and drape it into our pan. Our pie crust is completely wrapped around our pie pan, and I've trimmed off the excess. I just used my hands and then took my fingers and made sure that we don't see any of the pan. And the last thing we want to do is to take a fork and crimp the edges around the whole pan, and then we want to poke holes into the bottom of the crust so that we don't get like a bubble of crust. Our crust is finally ready to go into its pre-bake stage. We pre-bake a pie crust because like we don't want an undercooked pie crust. So place this into the oven at 375 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown. And in the category for Best Motion Picture Drama, there's Black Panther and A Star Is Born. So like, they're both really good. Black Panther was really good, and I've yet to see A Star Is Born, but I heard it was amazing. I'm going to put a poll right up here, and you tell me who you think should win that category, A Star Is Born or Black Panther. While our pie crust is baking in the oven, we can start to prepare our apples. I am just going to roughly peel the apples so that they still have a little bit of skin on them, and then cut them up into slices. Now before we can work on our cinnamon and sugar mixture for these apples, we actually want to soak them in some cold water, and we're also going to add in our lemon juice. Lemon juice helps to prevent the apples from browning and will help them keep their crisp while we work on the filling. To make this cinnamon spice filling that we are going to coat our apples with, we are going to take all of our granulated sugar, brown sugar, cinnamon, ground cloves, and ground ginger and whisk them into a bowl. Our apples have been sitting in the lemon for about 10 minutes, and now we can add in our sugar and spice mixture. Sprinkle it on the apples, and using your hands, mix it together. These apples are covered in gold, just like the trophy from the Golden Globes. But that is 24 karat gold and is like $800 to make. This is brown sugar. I set our apple mixture aside to let it infuse and incorporate all those flavors. Now we can start to work on the top crust. This is what we are going to decorate to look like the trophy. Again, follow the same steps of rolling it out about 1/4 of an inch thick. But this time, instead of just freehanding it or putting it into the bottom of our crust, we want to take a bowl that is the same width and cut out a circle. Once your pie crust is rolled out into your circle, now we can start to add on the details that we are going to make to really make sure this looks like the trophy. On it, there is a map of the world because it is a globe, and it's kind of like wrapped in that old-timey like film. That's what it is. So we are going to replicate that using some more pie crust and just freehanding the shapes. Start by taking a fork and scraping down your pie crust and scraping down the consonant that you want to add. Then add a little bit of water and place it onto the pie crust. Do this again for North America, Africa, and Europe. Then take a film reel strip and do the same thing, scoring the pie crust where you want to add the strip and adding a little bit of water to it. So we've got all of the parts of our pie crust made. We've got our yummy apple filling, which has extracted some juices from the apples and will help to keep our pie moist in the oven. And we've also got the top crust. Add in your apple pie filling and then attach on your top pie crust. Now this next step is totally optional, but over here I have some egg wash. This is just 1 egg and 2 tablespoons of water, and I'm just going to brush it over the top of our pie. This just helps to give the pie a nice golden finish. Our pie is ready to go into the oven. Place it in the oven at 375 degrees for 50 minutes. And here we have it, our Golden Globes inspired apple pie that we made today. Now let's cut into this. This is so good. The cinnamon and apple pair so well together. And we have that like caramelization happening with the brown sugar. And there's not too much crust. You can kind of pick and choose if you want to eat like Africa or South America. If you do happen to make this, please share it with me on Instagram or Twitter. And if you have any other requests for another Celebrity Sweets, please leave it down in the comments below. Also, make sure to check out my sock collection over on Teespring. The link is in the description below. Over there you can pick up the original Celebrity Sweets socks and many more designs. Until next time, savor life and make it sweet. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button down below. And while you're at it, subscribe. You can do that by clicking this little donut right here. If you're looking for more content, up here is my newest video where we made some Miley Cyrus inspired cupcakes, and down here is what YouTube thinks you should watch. That's all for today. I will see you guys this Thursday.